Alright, Karina baby, you're getting so big. Today is the 22nd. So from A Year Full of Stories, today's story is The Blue Moon. It was the middle of the day, and the little monsters, Minnie, Minnie, and Mo, or maybe Meanie, Minnie, and Mo, were going to bed. Everyone sleeps by day on Pongo and wakes up at night. The moon shone brightly that day. It was so light that little monsters couldn't get to sleep. We must do something about that moon, they say. So they went outside. They found a jar of paint and some brushes and fetched a long ladder. It reached all the way to the moon. Up we go, says Minnie, or Meanie. The ladder shook as the little monsters started to climb. Up and up and up. It took quite a while to get to the top, but at least they were standing on the moon. Then Meanie, Minnie, and Mo got busy with their paintbrushes. They painted the moon blue. When they had finished, a pale, shadowy light shone down on Pongo. That's better, said Minnie and Mo. But by the time they had all climbed down again, it was nighttime, and the sun was shining. So the little monsters didn't get to go to sleep after all. But they tried, right? They tried to come up with a good solution. Any problem that you are presented, there has to be a solution or several solutions. It's whatever it is that you can think of outside the box to come up with a solution to that problem, right? There are going to be tons of problems in this life. That's what life is. It's a bunch of little nitpicky problems that you have to go through, and you have to come up with good, creative solutions. Because there's always a solution to something. There's always a way to do something or to get something done. You just have to figure out exactly how you want to do it. Mom is an abstract thinker. So if someone comes to me with a problem, I'm solution oriented. So if you say, we need this or we need that, I will find a way to find it for free or to get it for you somehow, or just something. I will figure out a way to do something. Alright, so our next book in our fairy tale book is Billy Beg and His Bull. Once upon a time there was in Ireland a king and queen, and they had one son, Billy Beg. The queen gave Billy a bull that he was very fond of, and it was just as fond of him. After some time the queen died, and she put it as her last request to the king that he never part Billy and the bull. And the king promised that. Come what might come, what may, he would not. After his wife died, the king married again, and the new queen didn't take to Billy Beg, and no more did she like the bull, seeing himself and Billy so thick. But she couldn't get the king on any account to part Billy and the bull. So she consulted with a hen wife, a woman who raises chickens, to see what they could do about separating the two. What will you give me, says the hen wife, and I'll very soon part them. Whatever you ask, says the queen. Well and good then, says the hen wife. You are to take to your bed, making pretend that you are sick. What a complaint. With a complaint. And I'll do the rest of it. And well and good to her bed she took. And none of the doctors could do anything for her or make out what was her complaint. So the queen asked for the hen wife to be sent for. And sent for she was, and when she came in and examined the sick queen, she said that there was one thing and one thing only which could cure her. The king asked what was that? And the hen wife said, it was 3 mouthfuls of the blood of Billy Beg's bull. For the king went on no account to hear of this. And the next day the queen was worse, and the third day she was worse still, and told the king she was dying, and he'd have her death on his hands. So rather than that, the king had to consent to Billy Beg's bull being killed. When Billy Beg heard this, he got very down in the heart, and he went doddering about. And the bull saw him and asked what was wrong, that he was so mournful. So Billy told the bull what was wrong with him, and the bull told him to never mind, but to keep up his heart, for the queen would never taste a drop of his blood. The next day, then the bull was to be killed, and the queen got up and went out to have the delight of seeing his death. But as the bull was being led up, says he to Billy, just up on the back till we see what kind of a horseman you are. Oh, seeing his death. But as the bull was being led up, says he to Billy, jump up on my back till we see what kind of horseman you are. Up Billy jumped on his back, and with that the bull leaped 9 miles high, 9 miles deep, and 9 miles broad, and came down to the earth with Billy sticking between his horns. Hundreds were looking on, dazed at the sight, and thought them the bull rushed and over the top of the queen, killed her dead, and away he galloped to where you wouldn't know day from night or night from day, and high hills, low hills, sheep walks and ox trails, the Cove of Cork, and the old Tom Fox with his bugle horn. When the last they stopped, and the bull says to Billy, put your head on my left ear, and you'll get a napkin that, when you speak it out, will be covered with eats and drinks of all sorts, fit for the king himself. Billy did this, and when he spread out the napkin, ate and drank to his heart's content. When he was finished, he rolled up the napkin and put it back into the bull's ear. Now, says the bull, put your hand onto my right ear, and you'll find a bit of a stick. If you wind it over your head 3 times, it will be turned into a sword, and give you the strength of 1,000 men besides your own. And when you have no more need of it as a sword, I will change it back into a stick again. Billy did all this, and the bull said, at 12 o'clock tomorrow, I'll have to meet and fight a great bull. Billy then got up on the bull's back, and they started off and away to where you wouldn't know day from night or night from day, over the hills, low hills, sheep walks, and ox trails, the Cove of Cork, and old Tom Fox with his bugle horn. There Billy Bull met the other bull, and both of them fought, and the like of their fight was never seen before or since. They knocked the soft ground into hard, and the hard into soft, the soft into spring wells, and the spring wells into rocks, and the rocks into high hills. They fought long, and Billy Beg's bull killed the other and drank his blood. After the fight, Billy took the napkin out of the bull's ear again, and spread it out and ate hearty good dinners. Then says Billy the Bulls. Then says the Bull to Billy, says he, at 12 o'clock tomorrow, I to meet the brother of the Bull that I killed today, and we'll have a hard fight. Billy got up on the Bull's back again, and the Bull started off, and away to where you wouldn't know day from night, or night from day, over high hills, low hills, sheep walks, and ox trails, the cove of Cork, and the old Tom Fox with his bugle horn. There he met the brother of the Bulls that he had killed the day before. And they sat and they fought. And the like of the fight was never seen before or since. They kicked the soft ground into hard, the hard into soft, the soft into spring wells, the spring wells into rocks, and the rocks into high hills. They fought long, and at last Billy's Bull killed the other and drank his blood. And then Billy took the napkin out of the Bull's ear once again and spread it out and ate another good hearty dinner. Then says the Bull to Billy, says he, at 12 o'clock tomorrow I'm to fight the brother of the 2 bulls I killed. He's a mighty great bull, the strongest of them all. He's called the Black Bull of the forest, and he'll be a match for me. When I'm dead, says the Bull, you, Billy, will take with you the napkin, and you'll never be hungry, and the stick, and you'll never be able to overcome, and you'll be able to overcome everything that comes in your way, and take out the knife and cut a strip of the hide off my back and make the belt of it. And as long as you wear it, you cannot be killed. Billy was very sorry to hear this, but he got up on the Bull's back again, and they started off and away to where you wouldn't know day from night or night from day, over high hills, low hills, sheep walks, and ox trails, the cove of Cork, and old Tom Fox with his bugle horn. And sure enough, at 12 o'clock the next day, they met the great Black Bull of the forest, and both of the bulls commenced to fight. And the like of the fight was never seen before or since. They knocked the soft ground into hard ground, and the hard ground into soft, and the soft into spring wells, and the spring wells into rock, and the rocks into high hills. And they fought long, but at length the Black Bull of the forest killed Billy Beg's bull and drank his blood. Billy Beg was so vexed at this that for 2 days he sat over his bull, neither eating nor drinking, but crying salt tears all the time. Then he got up he spread out the napkin and ate a hearty dinner, for he was very hungry from this long fast. After that he cut a strip of the hide off the bull's back and made a belt for himself, and taking it, the bit of stick, and the napkin, he set out to seek his fortune. He traveled for 3 days and 3 nights, till at last he came to a great gentleman's palace, or a great gentleman's place. Billy asked the gentleman if he could give him employment, and the gentleman said he wanted just such a boy for herding cattle. Billy asked what the cattle would have to herd, and what wages would he get. The gentleman said that he had 3 goats, 3 cows, 3 horses, and 3 donkeys, that he fed in an orchard. But no boy who went with them ever came back alive, for there were 3 giants brothers, who came to milk the cow and goats every day, and always killed the boy who was herding. Billy, wanted to try. They won't fix the wages till they'd seen if he'd come back alive. Agreed then, said Billy. So by the next morning he got up and drove out the 3 goats, the 3 cows. Look at this little boy up in a tree. He had a sword, and he could have possibly helped. I guess not, though. The bulls were big. And 3 horses and the 3 donkeys to the orchard, and commenced to feed them. About the middle of the day, Billy heard 3 terrible roars that shook the apples off the tree, shook the horns on the cows, and made their hair stand up on Billy's head. And in came a fighting big giant with 3 heads, who begins to threaten Billy. "You're too big for 1 bite," says the giant, "and too small for 2. What will I do with you?" "I'll fight you," says Billy, says he, standing out to him and swinging a bit of stick 3 times over his head, whereupon it changed into a sword and gave him the strength of 1,000 men beside his own. And he up and killed the giant. When it was evening, Billy drove home the 3 goats, the 3 cows, the 3 horses, and the 3 donkeys. And all the vessels in the horse weren't able to hold all the milk the cows gave that night. "Well," says the gentleman, "this beats me, for I never saw anyone come back alive out of there before, nor the cows with a drop of milk. Did you see anything in the orchard?" says he. "Nothing worse than myself," says Billy. "What about my wages now?" "Well," says the gentleman, "you'll hardly come out of the orchard alive tomorrow, so we'll wait till after then." Next morning his master told Billy that something must have happened to one of the giants, for he used to hear the cries of 3 every night, but the night before he had heard only 2 crying. That morning after breakfast, Billy drove the 3 goats, the 3 cows, the 3 horses, and the 3 donkeys into the orchard again, and began to feed them. About 12 o'clock he heard 3 terrible roars that shook the apples off the trees, shook the horns off the cows, and made the hair stand up on Billy's head. And in came a fighting big giant with 6 heads, and he accused Billy of killing his brother. "You're too big for 1 bite," says he, "and too small for 2. What will I do with you?" "I'll fight you," says Billy, swinging his stick 3 times over his head and turning it into a sword, which gave him the strength of 1,000 men besides from his own, and he went up and killed the giant. When it was evening, Billy drove home the 3 goats, the 3 cows, the 3 horses, and the 3 donkeys, and what milk the cow gave that night overflew all of the vessels in the horse, and running out, turning a rusty wheel in a mill that hadn't been turned for more than 30 years. If the master was surprised at seeing Billy come back the night before, he was 10 times more surprised at seeing him now. "Did you see anything in the orchard today?" says the gentleman. "Nothing worse than myself," says Billy. "What about my wages now?" "Never mind about your wages," says the gentleman, "till tomorrow, for I think you'll hardly come back alive again," says he. Well and good. Billy went to his bed, and when the gentleman rose in the morning, says to Billy, "I don't know what's wrong with 2 of the giants. I only heard 1 crying last night." When Billy had his breakfast that day, he set out to the orchard, driving before him the 3 goats, the 3 cows, the 3 horses, and the 3 donkeys. And sure enough, about the middle of the day, he hears 3 terrible roars. And then in comes the last giant, this one with 12 heads on him. And if the other 2 giants were frightful, surely this one was 10 times more so. "You villain, you," says he to Billy. "You've killed my 2 brothers, and I'll have my revenge on you now. You are too big for 1 bite, and too small for 2. What will I do with you?" "I'll fight you," says Billy, and waving the bit of stick 3 times over his head, he up and killed the 3rd giant. That evening he drove home the 3 goats, the 3 cows, the 3 horses, the 3 donkeys, and the milk the cow had to be turned into the valley, where it made a lake 3 miles long, the 3 miles broad, and 3 miles deep. And that lake had been filled with salmon and white trout ever since. The gentleman wondered now more than ever at seeing Billy back a 3rd day alive. "You saw nothing in the orchard today, Billy?" says he. "Nothing worse than myself," says Billy. "Well, you're a good, mindful boy, and I couldn't do easy without you," says the gentleman. "I'll give you any wage you ask for in the future." The next morning, says the gentleman to Billy, "I heard none of the giants crying last night. I don't know what has happened to them." "I don't know," says Billy. "They must be sick." "Now, Billy," says the gentleman, "you must look after the cattle today again, and I go see the fight. While I go see the fight." "What fight?" says Billy. "It's the king's daughter is going to be devoured by a fairy dragon, if the greatest fighter in the land, whom they have been feeding specially for the last 3 months, isn't able to kill the dragon first. And if he's able to kill the dragon, the king is to give him his daughter in marriage." "That will be fine," says Billy. Billy drove out the 3 goats, the 3 cows, the 3 horses, and the 3 donkeys to the orchard that day again. And the like of the people who passed him on their way to the fight between the man and the fairy dragon, Billy never witnessed before. They were in coaches and carriages, on horses and donkeys, riding and walking, crawling and creeping. "My good little fellow," says the man that was passing to Billy, "why don't you come to see the great fight? What would take the likes of me there?" says Billy. But when Billy found them all gone, he saddled and bridled the best black horse his master had, put on the best suit of clothes he could find in his master's house, and rode off to the fight after the rest. When Billy arrived, he saw the king's daughter with the whole court about her on a platform before the castle, and he thought he had never seen anything half so beautiful. The great warrior who was to fight the dragon was walking up and down on the lawn before the princess, when 3 men carrying his sword, and everyone in the whole country gathered there looking at him. But when the fairy dragon came up with 12 heads on him, and gave every mouth of them spitting fire, and let 12 roars out of him, the warrior ran away and hid himself up to the neck of the well of water, and they couldn't get him to face the dragon. Then the king's daughter asked if there was no one who could save her from the dragon and win her in marriage. And not a person stirred. When Billy saw this, he tied the belt of the bull's hide around him, swung his stick over his head, and after a terrible fight, killed the dragon. Everyone then gathered about to find out who the stranger was. Billy jumped on his horse and darted off rather than let them know. But just as he was getting away, the king's daughter pulled a shoe off of his foot. The warrior who had hidden in the well of water came out, and cutting the heads of the dragon, he brought them to the king, and said that it was he, in disguise, who had killed the dragon, and he claimed the king's daughter. But the princess tied the shoe on the warrior and found it did not fit him. So she said that he wasn't the right man, and that she would marry no one, only the one the shoe fitted. When Billy got home, he changed his clothes and hid the horse in the stable and the animals all in before his master arrived. The master began telling Billy about the wonderful day and about the warrior hiding in the well of water, and about the grand stranger who had come down out of the sky in a cloud riding on a black horse and had killed the fairy dragon and then vanished into a cloud again. And, says he, Billy, wasn't that wonderful? It was indeed, says Billy, very wonderful. After that, it was given over the whole country that all the men were to come to the king's castle on a certain day, so that the princess could try the shoe on each one of them, and whoever it fitted she was to marry. When the day arrived, Billy was in the orchard with the 3 goats, the 3 cows, the 3 horses, and the 3 donkeys as usual. And the like of all the crowd that passed that day going to the king's castle to get the shoe tried on, he never saw before. They went in coaches and carriages, on horses and donkeys, riding and walking, crawling and creeping. They asked Billy, was he not going to the king's castle? But Billy answered, what would be bringing the likes of me there? At last, when all the others had gone, there passed the old man with a very scarecrow suit of rags on his back, and Billy stopped him and asked if he would swap clothes. Just take care of yourself now, says the old man to Billy, and don't be playing your jokes in my clothes, or maybe I'd make you feel the weight of this stick. But Billy soon let him see it was in earnest. He was, and both of them swapped suits. Then off to the castle started Billy, with the suit of rags on his back and the old stick in his hand, and when he got there, he found all the great commotion trying on the shoe. But it was of no use. The shoe did not fit any of them. The king's daughter was going to give up in despair when a ragged boy, who was Billy, elbowed his way through the crowd and said, "Let me try it on. Maybe it will fit me." The people, when they saw him, began to laugh at the sight of him. And "Go along out of that," says they. "Go along out of that," says they, shoving and pushing him back. But the king's daughter saw him and called on them by all manners of means to let him come up and try on the shoe. So Billy went up to the princess, and the people looked on, almost breaking their hearts laughing at the concert of it. But to the dumbfounded of them, the shoe fitted Billy as nicely as if it had been made with his foot for the form. So the king's daughter claimed Billy as her husband. He then confessed that it was he who had killed the fairy dragon, and when the king had him dressed in a silk and satin suit with plenty of gold and silver ornamented on the front, everyone gave out that his like they've no wait, ornamented on the front, everyone gave out that his like they've never seen before. Billy was married to the king's daughter, and the wedding lasted 9 days, 9 hours, 9 minutes, 9 half minutes, and 9 quarter minutes, and the two of them have lived happily and well from that day to this. So this is an old Irish tale, which is awesome because we're a little Irish. So from your grandfather, my father. Alright, that was a cute story. Let's do Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious was that grace thus far, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, snaws, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise as when we first begun. Oh, the grand old Duke of York had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill, and then he marched them down again. And when they were up, they were up, and when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up nor down. How about swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth and carry me home. Well, I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming forth to carry me home, a band of angels coming after me, coming forth and carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth and carry me home. Well, sometimes I'm up and sometimes I'm down, coming forth to carry me home. But still I feel my soul is heavenly bound, coming forth and carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth and carry me home. Now if you get there before I do, coming forth to carry me home, tell all my friends I'll be coming there too, coming forth and carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth and carry me home. You know that I'll be coming home, coming home, coming home to you, coming forth to carry me home. You know my word is good, you know my word is true, coming forth and carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth and carry me home. You know that I love, I love, I love you, coming forth to carry me home. You know my word is good, you know my word is true, coming forth and carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth and carry me home. Karina, baby, Mama loves you. I love you so much. I miss you so much. I can't wait to see you. It's been too long. It's been way too long. I only wanted to be by your side every second of every day. That's what mamas do. Mamas raise babies. Take care of homes, and they raise babies, and that's what they do. They take care of their husbands, their house, and their children, their pets. That's what women do. That's what women in my eyes do. Some women are career women, and that's great too. Mama's just not that. Baby, I love you, and I miss you, and I can't wait to see you. Alright. Let's sing Lila Tove, and good night to you. Lila Tove, may your dreams come true. We sing Lila Tove, may Israel protect you throughout the night, until we reach the morning light. Karina, baby, I love you and I miss you and I can't wait to see you. Like Papa used to always say, Mama's his sun, Papa's my moon, and you are quite literally our rainbow baby, and we love you. We both love you no matter what. Papa and Mama just need to figure out how to work together, that's all. Because you need a mother and a father in your life, no matter what. You always do. You always will. Till you get big, you know. I love you and I miss you. I can't wait to see you, my baby.